Howdy, y'all. How is everybody doing? We're just going to start gathering here for a few minutes. I've got an exciting thing to share with you today, a little story, very inspirational for quilters, and a huge celebration for our good friends who live in Germany. So thank you for joining today. We're just going to give a few minutes for people to pop in before I start my story. It's a beautiful day here on the mountain. I must say, we've been getting rain every single day. And as I look outside right now, I'm noticing that the clouds are building. So no doubt we are going to have more storms, thunderstorms here in the mountains, which I will not complain about because it's good for the plants. It's good for the baby trees. It's also good for the groundwater, which I live on a well. So the well water will hopefully stay a little healthy and continue to be good. It's good to see you guys coming in. There's a Terry and there's a Kathy and Emily. It's great to see you all, you guys. Thanks for popping in. Sandy, hello, good morning. Oh my God, what a sweet photo. That's awesome. Sandy, that's really sweet. Terry, that's pretty cool too. I can see you guys' thumbnails a little bit. Oh my gosh. Kathy, I'm looking at your photo too. That is fabulous. Oh my God, out in nature with the boat. Oh my God. We don't have many lakes in our area. We do have our state park lakes, have a little bit of stream running through the property. We saw a bear today. Yes, absolutely, we did. I'm telling you the truth. Let me take a moment to see if I can pop over and show you that. Let me see here. If I do a screen share. We've had one bear for a couple of weeks now. They're all black bears in our area, but a black bear doesn't have to be black. It's their type of bear, the American black bear, and they can be brown or cinnamon or blonde and so forth. So we've been seeing a black bear and then this new kind of sort of cinnamon colored, this red colored bear. Oh my gosh, humongous this morning. So you cannot hear me. I am wondering if there's anybody else that will say, I do hear you, because I only have one person. Oh, I see you. You lost the sound when I shared the screen. No worries. I showed you a brown bear, the raven. We have a nesting pair of raven, and the chicks were born, or hatched, sorry, within the last day or so. So that was pretty exciting. And then we saw mother elk and baby, and we also saw a couple of deer. So, all right, so that's great. Sorry that I'm not sure why you lost sound when I went over to the screen share, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm not screen sharing again. So anyway, so Karen switched over to YouTube and that seems to work just fine. So you guys, what I have to share with you today, for the most part, I'm going to share with you an interview that I did with Silke Von Hoffman from Germany. It's going to be fairly self-explanatory, and I want you to watch it. I mean, even if you're able to put it on and watch while you go about sewing, or I don't know, doing the dishes or peeling potatoes or whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're sitting and crocheting. I hope that you'll be able to watch through all of this and just see what transpired. It's pretty fun. And then I'm going to come back at the end of this. Hey, Christina, it's good to see you from Germany. I'm going to come back at the end. So if you have any questions on the follow-up, please do chime in at the end. So for the next few minutes, I'm just going to let you see the interview, share the story, and then I'm going to come back and have a little visit with you guys. So It says no sound on my end and not muted, but I am sharing audio. I just want to double check that I am. Hang on a second. Yep, I'm here. The audio options are um Cindy, I do not know why you're not getting sound, but I am going to say that not very many people are saying that. So Renata is from Bavaria, Germany, watching now. That's awesome. And Austria, Karen's in Austria. Oh my gosh, you guys. An update on Alex. She continues to improve. Remember, she did not have to have radiation or chemotherapy. So she is on the mend, and you can catch her on some lives here on the Quilt Show Facebook lives. I think she does Mondays and Fridays. I know she was doing 3 days a week, but I know she's still trying to do Monday and Fridays when she can. Okay, so you can catch that. Great to see you, James. Good to see you. Absolutely. Bunch of you guys. All right. So here I am going to go. I'm going to roll this. I'm going to watch the comments. So in the event that the audio is not working for the video, I will stop and find out what's going on. So here we go and enjoy. Hey everybody, Ricky Timms here, and I'm so excited to be joining you today. I'm especially excited because my dear friend Silke Von Hoffman is here from Germany, and she is going to tell us about an amazing thing that has transpired in Germany. Hello, Silke. How are you?
Hi, Ricky. How are you? It's nice to see you. It's
Nice
very
to
great. We
see
have
you.
wonderful weather.
It's so great. Now tell everybody where you are right this moment. Where are you living?
So, at this moment, I'm in the northern part of Germany in a city called Hanover. It's, I would say, located in between Hamburg, Frankfurt, and Berlin. So, I think these are huge cities that
Yeah.
most people will know.
Absolutely. And I need to tell everybody that Zilka's a quilter. I've known her for now many years. You've been to La Vida, Colorado, what, 3 times or more?
Four
Four
times.
times. Four times
Yes.
to La Vida, Colorado to do workshops with me. And Zilka has also been instrumental in helping me on various occasions when I did go to Germany. You've kind of been there to help me through all of that. But we're here today to talk about a special thing that transpired with the German Patchwork Association. And you had a lot of involvement in that. So I just want to let you kind of give everybody the story, okay?
Okay. I would like to tell you the story because it was a huge project here in Germany. So I think everything started with like a lot of things with the pandemic in 2020. So because Ricky, he was part of our German association meeting, he told us everything about his new book, Lizzy Albright and the Attic Window. And you told us about the story, and so a lot of people has been were very interested to hear about. And okay, and then you told us that there will be a sampler going together with this book. And then we had in November at the same year, we had like a votation, and all of the members of the German Patchwork Association could vote, or could, yeah, I guess could vote if they want to do which kind of sew along they want to do the next year. And the majority wanted to do the Granny Sampler from the Lizzie Albright book. And so
So
it started.
So let me now pop over to these images that we have, okay? This will probably help a little bit. Um, Looking at this now, so this is the Lizzy Albright in the Attic Window novel. Some people may not be familiar with it, but now they are, right? And this is available at rickytims.com if you're interested. But from that book, this book is really it's a fantasy story. It's a little bit of Harry Potter meets Alice in Wonderland meets Wizard of Oz, but it is a story that is inspired by blocks from a quilt that Lizzie's granny made. And this is the quilt that I designed for the novel. This is actually presented in the novel, and you can see blocks like flying geese in the border, and Lizzie is riding on the back of a flying goose, or you can see like the Scotty dog there in the upper left of the quilt a little bit. It's very iconic. And Lizzie has a Scotty dog who rides. So the blocks become part of the story. And so just kind of giving that background. And then this quilt, once it was finished and the book, the pattern book was finished, this is what inspired the German Association to do your sew along, which is a year, at least a year long, right?
Yes, we started at the end of January, and I think and we had introduced every week one block. So, but we didn't do it in the order you did it.
Right.
Because the thing is, so just to explain, the book is just available in English. And so we have a lot of quilters who are not that good in English, and they are not used to work with inches because they prefer centimeters. So a lot of them said, so we could buy the book, but we can't do it just on our own. So Bärbel Vollertsen, a friend of mine at the Patchwork Guild, she's working too or helping too, and we decided, okay, we are going to prepare these blocks for every week. And what we did is that we've sewn the blocks first. We took photos and we did like a German small instruction for these blocks. But because we wanted that everybody is going to sell the book, we didn't put any measurements on the website. So it was just the instruction, but without any measurements. So everybody needed the book to really saw the things, but we explained how to do it. And we started with a really easy block with the Jacob's ladder because we wanted everybody to be motivated to go on with the project and not to start, for example, with the double wedding ring.
That's great. That's great. So now everybody's working on this project over the course of a year. Now let's jump forward because it happened. You guys did it. It was amazing. And some people used my Lizzy Albright fabric. Some people used their own fabrics. But now let's jump forward to what just transpired just recently, just a few days ago, actually.
So the thing is that every year we have our annual meeting of the Patchwork Association, and this is a 3-day meeting. We are always changing the towns, and so this year, last weekend, we have been to Dinkelsbühl, which is located in southern Bavaria, and we had an exposition of all the quilts, not of all the quilts, but of a lot of quilts which were produced in this process. So we were around, so we had at this exposition, there were 34 quilts. So, and you can imagine that 34 quilts, you can't put them in a normal room because this Lizzy Albright quilts are really very huge.
Right.
I think
And
they had double bed, no, the queen bed size. I don't know. I'm not so common with the,
yeah,
with
but
the,
it's a
the
big
size.
it's a big quilt. And these are photos of Dinkelspool, right?
These are photos from Dinkelsbühl, and on the left side you can see the church. It's a Protestant church, and we were allowed to hang the quilt in this church. And that was really a lot of fun, and it was coincidence. But one patchworker, she has been part of us during this whole 2 years. She is deacon in this church, so she could organize everything. And so Tanya, she was really a huge help to organize everything. And the father of Tanya, he did all the, how do you call it, the rods, the
Yeah, the
slats you have
hanging.
to
Yeah.
do
Wow.
for the hanging. So he did all these for us so that nobody has to transport this wood or the slats through Germany just to put it to the exposition.
Wow. So, Silke, I have a question because I believe this was one exhibition of various
Well,
exhibitions that were going on in the same town, right?
yeah, so in the town we had, I think, at least 20 or 25 different expositions, and we call it the Gildy Lizzy. So Gildy is like guild. The Gildy Lizzy was just one of these 20 expositions. So
That's
can
fabulous.
you, I think it was this one with the hugest or with the biggest quilt.
Oh, it's such an honor for me for first of all the quilt to be selected and to see all these quilts hanging in such a beautiful place and so beautifully presented. It is really really exciting. I want to show some of the quilts if we can do that. I mean, actually all of the quilts, and that will take a moment. But here's a little video of the quilts there hanging in the church. And I just
Yes.
only imagine because this was only for a weekend, right? Just for a few
Yes,
days.
just for a weekend, yes.
And
And
of
it
course,
was really hard work to put all these quilts on the wall, or would you say to hang them?
yes.
Because it was small stairs, and it was a twice doubled, and you have to go to get to this balcony, and it was just very difficult to get all these slats to this point.
Wow.
So
Well, I
we
can only imagine the time it took to hang it and make it look so beautiful. Many of the quilts also went in the back over pews, and you can see this one. This was actually done with the Lizzy Albright fabrics.
yes,
Stop me if there's something really in particular. We want to get through all of these, but we're not going to be able to talk
of course.
extensively about all of them. But look at the colors that were used, the
Yeah,
variety of fabrics.
every of them is completely different, and we have a really huge variety of fabrics. Some just use the fabrics they had in their stash, some just bought everything, a few of us. So this one was very special because it's completely done by jeans. Can you imagine, Ricky?
I
She
can't.
used all different jeans she had in the house with the different shades of blue or black and gray, and she did all this by jeans.
Oh, it's spectacular. I know that it's not going to be hand quilted, but it looks like she might have used some kind of fasteners on his.
Yes, she knew she used it. She couldn't do any quilting because of the fabric, the jeans, and it's really a very heavy quilt. But she put this. I don't know the word in English, no? So you have it on the jeans, like the small buttons, and she did
Yeah,
this 2 days just to fix everything.
that's fabulous. So what a great way to do that and to get it all together. And wow, so then we get into something that's more cheerful and pink and bright and red and purple and magenta and fuchsia. I love that. Wonderful. And this one, I remember seeing a photo of this in progress. I loved
Mhm.
the flow of color going from like the bottom right with the reds to the yellows to the greens up to the blues and
Yeah,
beautiful and wonderful
this
creativity
one was
because go ahead.
this, this one was made by Bärbel, this the woman or my
Oh,
friend, and we did this project together. And she planned everything because she said she doesn't want to just pick out fabrics of her stash. She wanted this color. How do you say that? The color is changing from the pink to the blue.
it's fabulous very much. Love
This is one blue,
the name.
yes.
Yeah, beautiful. And then these are also the ones hanging now.
So this one is just special because you can see there are all the blocks, but every of these blocks has a size of I think I have to think about 5 inches, five
Wow.
or six
So
inches.
it's half the size. The original blocks, I think, are
Yes,
8, and these have been reduced. So it makes,
just four. These are really reduced, so you can't imagine. And she did all by a lot by paper foundation piecing, and at the end she quilted everything by hand. But
wow.
she said that was really very difficult because of all the seam allowances she had on the back.
I'm so sorry I couldn't be there to see all of this.
So I think this is one of the nada. So it's just we had the one side where all the one with the more traditional fabrics. So this is one completely in green, but the women didn't do the flying geese border, so it is a different size from
Yep.
so it's smaller than the original size. So and here you can see that a lot of them really did different cornerstones because some
Yeah.
of them had problems to get the flying geezers that so this border didn't fit so well, and so everybody was very creative to
Right.
make
Well,
his
by
decision.
making the bigger border, I see how that the center on each side has a fun little extra piece of patchwork.
Yes,
That's
and
so
because of this,
people need to remember that you can change a pattern. So many people get
yes,
stuck on the pattern must be exact, but I love those log cabin cornerstones.
yes. So, and I think that's a traditional cornerstones, but when you go through, you can see there are really a lot of different ways to do this. And some were something by because they didn't have enough fabric or there were some problems. But I think nobody knows at the end what happens or
No.
why it is. Yes, you can see here's just one flying geese in the cornerstone.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's
and
what.
the interesting in this project where so we were patchworker with all level of skills. So there were people who really, that was their first quill they ever did. And there were
Wow.
people who had experience for 25, 30 years. And so our thing was, so starting in 21, we made a meeting by Zoom every month. And it was like, okay, we are going to have you. Where is your problem? What do you need? And so we were meeting for about 2 years, once a month. And that was such a great experience. And we met all the first time in Dinkelsby. We've met 2 years just by via Zoom, and then we met in person at Dinkelsby. It was very emotional to see everybody and just to say, "Oh, it's so great to see you, and I can give you a hug and to
Yeah.
talk to you in person." And so in this group, it was a very nice, no, not a very nice. It was a really very impressive, emotional spirit to motivate. And so to do the blocks and to finish the top is one thing, but the next thing is to do the quilting. And that was really like, okay, go on, you will go, and we give you an advice what pattern you can use for quilting. And some did hand quilting, some had a long arm quilting machine, some had just a domestic sewing machine, and what kind of bedding would be good. So I think this process of quilting, we needed more motivation than for doing the blocks.
Well, one of the things that I love about your stories, Zilka, not only the process, the quilting to getting it done, to get the exhibition up, but you mentioned this camaraderie, this friendship that became. I hope that
Yeah,
some of these friendships will last for years. And isn't that really what quilting does? It brings us together in so many ways. And we do have lifetime relationships. I mean, I look at you, you are my dear friend now, but it's because of quilting that happened. And so, yeah,
yeah.
beautiful.
So quilting is really something you can bring people together, and you will have friendships. So I really have good friends from one of your retreats, Jane in Great Britain. I just visited her, so that was also, we never would have met if we wouldn't have done quilting. So I hope this if clause was right now. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
you're exactly right. So here's one that went square, and
Yes,
I love that. Fun.
yes.
And
She didn't like the other size, so she wanted to
right.
have a different size.
And I look at this. I look at this. The borders on this, which are typical, but looking at the fabrics, that the way they just change and they can be fun. The blocks don't all have to be one color scheme. When it's all tied together with the elements, it just works really, really well. It's beautiful.
And so we all use the same pattern, but I think you can, if you know the people, you can see the individuality or the personality of the person in this quilt.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, it's just such an honor to see all these. Now, we're getting close to the end of all of the quilts that were on display. I love the impact of this, the contrast and so forth. Just the just the unique color schemes. I really am excited to see these. But on the Sunday, there was a church service because it is a church, right? So
The church.
we're almost there. So let's talk about that. Okay, let me just get through these quilts
Yes,
so
of course.
everybody can see them. Oh, look at the changing of
Look
color.
at this. This is so beautiful, or
That's fabulous. I love
the
that
flying
board.
bees
Yeah,
using the colors, yes.
and rich,
And this
rich.
is completely in purple, but it looks fabulous when it's hanging.
Yeah, and the red is really popping out there. It looks great. Okay, so let's talk about the church service.
Yes. So, as I've mentioned, Tanya, she was part of our group during these 2 years. She's a deacon in this Protestant church. And so she organized a lot of things. And then she said, so I have the possibility or the honor to do the service on the Sunday. And I would like to integrate this project in the service or in this sermon also. So we all say, oh, that would be so lovely. And of course, we all will come and visit or will be part in this service too. And so on the right side, you can see Tanya. And so she chose the Storm at Sea block. And so she took a part of the Bible and she showed up this Song of Sea, and she talked about the block and about the meaning of the storm of sea. And it was such a really emotional service. I think,
So
Ricky, I sent you
let
also a picture
yeah,
of this.
yeah
Amazing.
let me go to the next slide, which I think is going to be a short video. And yeah, so here is the Storm at Sea block, and she's used it for the sermon. And you said that it was part of it was from Psalm 107. And
Yes.
let me just quickly say, because he raised the stormy wind which lifted up the waves of the sea. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He made the storm be still, and the waves of the seas were hushed. And then you said she also used the story from Mark chapter 4. Would you like to just kind of share that with everybody? I think it's kind of fun.
I will try to do. So I think it's a part, or it's a story from the Bible where Jesus is at the Lake Gennesaret on a boat, and there's a storm, and he is still, or he's sleeping, and all the people are very, oh God, oh my God, it's a storm, and it's so, they are afraid, and so they wake him up, and he says, but the storm is nothing, because you just have to be with trust and faith, and God will save you. And but he then said the storm to be quiet, and so she used this. So the deacon Tanya used this in the service to talk about the storms we all have in our life, and we just need some trust and some faith in God that He will be aware of us and that he will help us to go through this storm. And she also told us a very personal story of her life, of the storm in her life, and that was a very, very emotional part. We all were. I saw some tears, and also we all had like goosebumps. It was very, very personal, and it was the whole atmosphere with the church and the quilt and the sermon. It was something very
That's
special.
that's really, really, really great. A great story. And I also have to think that, even in our journey of quilters, even in the journey of making a quilt that substantial, there is a storm
Yes.
that you're like, am I going to make it? Am I going to get to the end? But you have to have the trust and the faith and just push forward, and you will get to the end. And you guys managed to do that very, very well. So
Manage
congrats.
this as a group together. I think that was really our power to motivate everybody and to say, okay, you can do this. So what you can see here, we call it, it's a pocket quilt. So you see it's small doubled squares. I would say around 3 inches, something like this. And you can also see there are a few of them are made with the Lizzy fabrics. And at the end of the service, every visitor of the service get one of the small pocket quilts. And inside this quilt, there's a small, I would call it, it's like a cross made of plastic. You use this normally for tiles to put the distance. If you put the tiles together and you need a special or the same distance, I don't
Right.
know the word in English.
Yeah, it's just
And
a
so
spacer. It's just a spacer, but it
space
looks like a
holder.
little
Mhm.
cross. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is inside, and so you can put this small pocket quilt in your quilt in your pocket, and you just can feel it, and you have the cross inside. And a lot of visitors were completely thrilled to get a memory to this special service at the end of the service.
I'm really, really excited. So let's look at this photo now. Tell us what transpired at the end.
That was the biggest surprise. None of us expected this, because, as I've mentioned before, we had about 20 different expositions through these 3 days, and we call it the Gilde Lizzy exposition won the viewer's choice. We've been so proud to get this, because none of us expected this, especially while we've been on so different levels of skill. And in the other expositions, there were really very professional artist quilters. And so, but our Gilde Lizzy quilts won.
And I see it says online group. And this
Yes.
basically is just an online group. And the fact that we have the technology to be a part of a connected community and not even see each other face to face until maybe a wonderful event like you just had. I just love the technology that we have in the world that allows us to do this. It's really wonderful.
And so we can do this interview. So I would say 10 years
Yeah,
ago, we just talked at the phone.
yeah, absolutely. And then,
Yes, and so the exposition was from Friday to Sunday, and on Monday there was this really huge article in the newspaper of Dinkelsbühl, and they really put the picture of our exposition in this. So we really said that it's unbelievable that we have been so honored by the people, by the visitors, and by the community.
yeah, well, I am so proud of everybody. I don't know that everybody will that doesn't speak English. They would maybe look at this, but please at least communicate to the group that I am thrilled. I'm honored that they chose the Lizzy quilt, and more importantly, beyond my excitement about it, I hope the journey for them that they've got memories stitched into their quilt, that they've got friendship stitched into their quilt, and that these quilts will be kind of a landmark for each of them on their journey of life and quilting.
Yes, this for sure. And all of them are motivated to start another project, and they are still searching for a new project. So we will see what next year will bring.
Absolutely. Well, Silke, thank you so much for sharing the story with us, and just hugs and love to you and all of my good German patchwork friends. It's just,
Thank
I
you
look,
so much.
I look forward to being back as soon as absolute possible.
Okay, we were waiting for you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye. Well, I don't know about you, but I've been sitting here smiling from ear to ear. Of course, the quilt itself is near and dear to me, but just listening to Zilka's wonderful enthusiasm, and then I'm looking in the comments, and there's so many German quilters that got the message and that are watching today. Guten Abend, meine Freundin. It's very good to see you. You're amazing, and I'm so happy that y'all has had such a great success. I look forward to when I can come back and visit all of you in Germany. I'm going to keep watching a little bit for questions because I want to stick with you just a little bit longer, and I will be watching for those. But I do see a question that says, when is Alex coming back on the program? Let me explain a little bit about the program. If you're talking about the quilt show and our episodes, so when we go and tape, we tape often, most of the time, 6 days, and we shoot 2 shows a day. In August of 2022, I arrived in Dallas for taping, and I ended up having COVID, and I was not allowed into the studio, and I missed all 6 days, which means that Alex had to host solo all 12 of those shows. 12 shows for us is a half a year. And then Alex, as many of you know, she had a breast cancer. She was diagnosed back in November, and she had surgery in January. She was not capable and well enough to be at the taping that happened in March. So I had to solo host 12 shows. So those of you that are watching the shows, you're going to see Alex by herself for quite a while, and many of those shows are already out. Now you're going to have to put up with me by myself for a while, but you need to know that I got better right after the taping, and Alex, of course, is better after that taping, but it's just the nature of the fact that our shows roll out twice a month that ends up causing such a lag and a delay from it all. So just kind of put that in your thought process. That's just how it works in the realm of television. But as far as being back, Alex is back. She's doing lives. She will be live this Friday morning. So go to the Quilt Show on Facebook, or pop into YouTube, and she will be doing those lives. I believe they're either 9 or 10 a.m. And I apologize that I don't have that memorized. I get my time zones mixed up, but I know it's in what we typically call the morning. And so please do watch that. Alex is back doing lives, and so you'll be able to visit with her. I've got a statement from Alex. I texted her just a few minutes ago, and I said, what statement from you about where you are now? And she said, I'm still looking for my juju. It's slowly but surely coming back. I think it is very common for those of us that have been through major surgeries to find this kind of downturn in our creative spirit and all of that. So if you want to send some good vibes, send the good vibes to Alex. Her healing is great. It's just that her creative spirit has been a little bit in the dumps, and we would love to see her turn that around. So you guys send her some good thoughts, make some good comments to her on the Quilt Show Facebook. You can certainly do that, and we would appreciate that very much. I'm going to look and see if there's any other questions. Cornelia, thank you. Guten Abend. Ich spreche eine kleine Deutsch, just enough to be embarrassed about it. Oh, I love you too, Lynn. You guys have no idea. I mean, Alex would say the same thing. We love you guys, and it's not just that you're out there. We are a community. I talked about Silke and how that they created their wonderful little online community to make these quilts. And I will tell you, having the Quilt Show as a massive, big, huge, wonderful online community, we may not know you by face. We may not even know your names all the time, but we do make friends and we do see you. And the more active and involved you are on our site, the more we get to know who you are and what you do. Many of the people that have been behind the scenes doing things for us over the years that I can't even tell you have come from you guys, just because we found you on our site and you've been so wonderful and important to us. If you have never made it over to thequiltshow.com and signed up for your measly little, just tiny little subscription fee, you get access to over 400 shows. You get access to our block of the months. I mean, the value for what you get for like 3 cups of coffee, maybe 4 at the most, is amazing for an entire year. So do pop over to thequiltshow.com and check that out if you are new to not knowing about that. Can I talk about the quilts behind me? I absolutely will. So here's the thing. I teach online classes, and one of those classes that I've been doing is called Locomotion. Both of these quilts are made from Locomotion, but I want to tell you about the one over this shoulder first. This is Hugo's 5th quilt top. Oh yeah, 5th quilt top. Never even knew the word quilt before a year and a half ago. 5th quilt top done using the method that I teach, but that is from the Locomotion class, which is part 2. For those that take part 1, they advance to part 2. And this is my 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish quilt, which also uses that technique. In the Locomotion class, we do not get that complex. We keep it simple. But for those that want to snap it up a bit, when I do the Locomotion class, this is what we jump into. And so that's what those quilts are behind me right now. Oh, Sigrid, it was a very good interview. Thank you so much. Sigrid Schmidt, I'm having a feeling that you are also from over across the pond. Lynn has said to Alex, I'm praying for you to get your husband back. That's great. Margaret is saying, yes, the Quilt Show was well worth the fee. It's just our subscription. We don't do it. I mean, you guys, it is very expensive to do that high-quality television production and to run the website. And, of course, we've got a spattering of employees that keep it all running. So your subscription helps keep us going and keeps us doing things like what I've been able to share with you today. Yep, and there's the link, the join here on thequiltshow.com. That's been posted in the comments as well, so you can see those. Arda is asking if there will be a sequel to the Lizzy book, and she loved the book and she loved the quilt. Arda, I really want Kat Bowser, my co-author, we both really want to do a sequel. It was during COVID, and I exhausted months of my life writing the book, and right now I just don't have the time to stop and do it. And we need people to read the book. So if you haven't read the book, as I mentioned, you can go to iBook. You can get it for there. You can get it for Kindle, and please get the audiobook. Go to audible.com and just put that on while you're quilting. That alone will take you on a 10.5-hour journey of such wonderment. And get your youngsters involved. Get them involved in the quilt. and we would really love for you to do that. So I'm not going to promise a sequel. We want to do a sequel. Timing and effort and all of that is challenging, but thank you for asking because it means that you care, and I love that. Bonnie says that she has the book and enjoys the shows and talks and wish Alex the very best. So definitely follow both Alex and I on Facebook, and we'll stay in touch with you. And also just follow the Quilt Show as well. All right, you guys, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Silke, for being. I saw the German Patchwork Guild visiting, and so many of you from Germany. I hope that you're very proud. You should be very proud. I know I am very proud of all of those quilts, and I truly do look for the time when I can see you face to face. The rest of you guys, just thank you for watching and supporting the amazing things that we do around the world. And I hope that you're inspired as well by all of the wonderful quilts that the German Patchwork Association participated in the Lizzy Guild. So, all right, God bless you all. Thank you for joining me today, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.